So you're swapping tokens on TON. Ever feel like you're playing a guessing game? You see a price you like, you go to hit that swap button, and poof, it's different. It's frustrating, right? Well, what if I told you there's a way to lock in the best possible rate every single time you trade? Stick around, because we're about to show you exactly how to do it.
I mean, think about it. You want to swap, say, 100 ton for some other token. You pull up one app, you see one number. You check a different one, and hey, it's a completely different quote. So what's going on? Are you actually leaving money on the table somewhere in the process? The short answer is, yep, you probably are. But the good news is, there's a really smart way to fix it.
All right, so here's the game plan. First, we're going to break down the actual problem with swap rates. Then, we'll introduce you to the solution, Omniston. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of how it actually saves you money, do a quick walkthrough of a swap, see a side-by-side comparison, and wrap it all up with a super simple checklist. Let's get into it.
Okay, so the entire reason for this pricing mess really comes down to this one big idea in crypto called fragmented liquidity. Now, I know, that sounds super technical and maybe a little intimidating, but trust me, the concept itself is actually pretty straightforward.
See, on TON, it's not like there's one giant stock market for all the tokens. Instead, you've got all these different decentralized exchanges. We call them DEXs, and each one is like its own little island with its own little pile of tokens. And that separation, that's what we mean by fragmented liquidity. It's the core reason why the prices you see are all over the place.
This analogy really hits the nail on the head. Imagine you want to buy something specific. If you just go to the first store you see, you might get an okay deal, or you might get totally ripped off. To really find the best price, you'd have to drive all over town checking every single store. Well, that's pretty much what's happening when you use just one DEX. You're only looking at one store's inventory, one store's price.
And this is exactly where Omniston changes the game. See, Omniston isn't just another store. Think of it more like your personal super shopper, the one that can check every single store in the city for you instantly.
The technical term for what Omniston is a liquidity aggregator. And really, its one and only job is to scan all of those separate little islands of liquidity across all the different DEXs on TON. It then pieces everything together to find you the absolute best deal for the exact swap you want to make. Honestly, it's a huge upgrade for the whole TON ecosystem.
Here's another great way to think about it. It's kind of like one of those flight booking websites, right? You don't go to every single airline's website one by one. No way. You go to one spot that pulls in all the options and shows you the cheapest or fastest flight. Omniston does the exact same thing for your tokens, but it's even cooler. It doesn't just show you the best deal, it actually books and executes it for you automatically.
So the big question is, how does it actually do that? How does it find you these savings? Well, it has two secret weapons in its arsenal, something called smart routes and a really cool feature called escrow swaps. Let's break down what those mean. Okay, this is where it gets really, really cool. You'd think the cheapest way to go is always a straight line, right? Swapping from token A directly to token C. But what if that direct route is like a tiny country road with a ton of traffic? If you try to push a big trade through there, you'll cause a major price jam. Omniston is smart. It looks at the map and says, hey, what if we take this multi-lane highway instead? That might mean swapping from A to some other token B and then to C. It feels like a detour, but if those routes have way more liquidity, you actually end up with more of token C in your wallet. And it figures all this out in like a split second.
But wait, it gets even better. Omniston isn't just looking at the public roads, those normal DEX pools. It has this other tool, the special access pass called escrow swaps. And this unlocks a whole different level of liquidity.
So what are these? Basically, escrow swaps tap into these private, over-the-counter liquidity pools, the kind of stuff that big-time professional traders use. These are direct deals that you and I normally can't access. It's like your personal shopper having a secret backroom connection to get you a price that isn't even listed on the shelves.
And that's the whole magic trick right there. Omniston is looking at every possible public route, all those multi-step detours, and it's checking its private backroom connections through escrow swaps. It compares everything, literally everything, and then picks the absolute best path for you. It's designed to guarantee you get the best rate possible.
Okay, that's a lot of theory. I get it. But what does this actually look like when you go to make a swap? Well, the best part is it's really, really simple. You barely have to do anything different.
Seriously, it's pretty much the exact same process you're already used to. You just open up your TON wallet or the wallet in Telegram, you pick the tokens you want to swap, you punch in the amount. The only tiny difference you'll notice is that before you hit confirm, it'll show you the route Omniston found. You don't need to analyze it or anything, just give it a glance, hit approve, and boom. All that complicated stuff we talked about happens automatically behind the scenes.
All right, to really drive this point home, let's do a little side-by-side comparison. Let's see what a swap looks like with Omniston turned on versus what it looks like with it off.
Okay, check this out. Let's imagine you're swapping 1,000 ton for something we'll call token X. Now, without Omniston, you're stuck with a direct swap. And if that pool is a bit shallow, your own trade can actually hurt the price. That's what we call price impact. In this case, you get hit with a 1% impact, and you walk away with 500 of token X. Now, let's flip the switch. With Omniston on, it finds that smarter multi-hop route. Your price impact drops all the way down to just 0.2%. And the result? You get 505 of token X. That's 5 extra tokens in your pocket that you otherwise would have just lost. For free. Just for using a better tool. Now imagine how much that adds up on even bigger trades.
All right, so you're probably thinking, when should I really be making sure I'm using this? Let's make it super simple with a quick checklist. Okay, here's the bottom line. You definitely want to use OmniSwap for any medium to large swaps. You know, the ones where even a tiny percentage really matters. It's also an absolute must if you're trading less common tokens, the ones that might have thin liquidity. And really, if you're someone who just wants to know you're getting the best price without having to check a dozen different places, it's a no-brainer. Now, what about super small swaps? To be honest, the savings might be tiny, but hey, there's literally no downside to using it, so why not?
And you know, this is bigger than just saving you money on your individual trades. It's really about making the entire TON ecosystem healthier and more efficient. I love this quote. It really says it all. Omniston is dissolving these liquidity silos. It's breaking down the walls between all those separate little islands and creating one giant shared ocean of liquidity that literally everyone can benefit from. So, look, the next time you go to make a swap on TON, you're not just clicking a button anymore. You're an informed user. You know that behind that simple interface, there's this incredibly powerful engine working for you, fighting against those hidden costs. You're not just hoping you got a good deal, you know you're getting the best deal possible. So the only question left is, now that you're swapping smarter, what are you going to build, trade, or discover next?